every single one of us has a dream that is beyond where we are at this exact moment in life. And I truly believe that the one thing that stops most of us from ever making these dreams a reality, or even from making some progress towards our dreams, is the fear of failure. Well, today I want to talk about what exactly a fear of failure does to us and how it prevents us from becoming who we're really meant to be, from living our lives to the fullest, from reaching our full potential, and for seeing our dreams become part of our reality. A fear of failure is something that I think most of us can relate to. And in fact, I'm going to assume that at some point or another in your life that a fear of failure has prevented you from fulfilling your full potential in some area of your life, whether it be as a child taking a test when a fear of failure was so gripping that your mind completely blanked out and prevented you from coming up with the answers and the knowledge that you definitely had, that you had before you walked into that room, and that you could have produced on that test to show your professor, teacher, whoever it was that was giving you that test exactly what you were capable of. I can think of countless times where a fear of failure really got in my way, messed up my confidence, and seriously, I think one of the biggest things is just kind of clouded my mind, right? That blank mind that I just talked about really got in the way of me focusing and allowing my body, my brain, and everything else to do what it already could do. A fear of failure is one of the number one reasons people stop themselves from taking action towards any part of their life that is important to them. It's one of the top reasons people don't have great relationships. They're so afraid of speaking up and so afraid of asking for what they want, or so afraid of asking the person out that they know could be a good fit for them. Because what if they get turned down? What if they get rejected? What if the person says, you know what, I'm not as interested in you? Or, wow, you're asking for a lot in our relationship. I don't think I have what it takes. I don't think I'm the right person for you. We're so afraid of hearing rejection. We're so afraid of being turned down that a lot of times we're just stopping ourselves completely instead of speaking up and letting other people know who we are, what we want, and what we have to give. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying this in terms of, well, okay, but then if you put yourself out there, you're going to get whatever you want. You're going to be successful, because you know what? That is not entirely true. Even if you put yourself out there, even if you tell the person that you're interested in that you'd love to go out with them sometime, they may say no. However, you don't know. You don't know. And unless you're willing to risk failure, to risk maybe a little potential embarrassment, maybe a little bit of egg on your face, or whatever, however you want to look at it, unless you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of that and be vulnerable, you'll never know. You'll never know if that person says yes. You'll never know if you actually are soulmates. You'll never know if your partner is willing to be more flexible and negotiate and compromise with you to have more of the balance in that relationship that you want. But I'm guessing if you're watching this, maybe you have some of the same values and ideals in your life that I have. And one that I truly hold close to my heart is how much I love developing my own business, working on my business, growing my business, thinking of ideas for my business, and trying them out. Now, for many of us, especially now in the world with these huge shifts towards people starting their own business, going out on their own, freelancing, and taking the skills that they've developed and worked hard on in jobs and trying to go out either through a side hustle or by embarking on their own path to create a life for themselves and their families, right? We have this really big shift right now. But here's the thing. The one thing, again, that I really believe really holds people back from going all in and taking a chance is this fear of failure. Well, let me be really vulnerable right now, because if I had given in to fear of failure, I would not be where I am right now. I would most likely be working for someone else and not spending the kind of time I wanted with my kids, not being there after school for their activities and to help them with homework, not being able to cook a meal every day, although sometimes they're sort of shortcut meals, but either way, I wouldn't be able to do those things. I wouldn't have so much flexibility in the weekends. I wouldn't be able to sit on the couch in the evening and enjoy a show if I want to, or read a book. I wouldn't have any of those things. And I know that because I used to have that kind of life. I used to have the kind of life where I felt like the only path for me was the safe path, right? Was the path where I worked for someone else, was the path where I had benefits, was the path where I had predictability, was the path I had stability. But if I hadn't said to myself at some point, you know what? The next path for me is one where I'm working for myself and I'm defining the rules and I'm building it the way I want it to be, then I would never have gotten to where I am today, where I do run my own business and I get to have that time with my kids and my friends and my spouse and my family and all of my hobbies and interests. I wouldn't have had any of that. Now, as I'm saying this, is this inspiring or triggering something within you? Are you starting to think about things in your own life that you've either chosen to risk failure, risk not being successful, or giving up stability or predictability in order to have something in your life? Or are you thinking maybe of areas where you're still afraid and risk and fear of failure is still holding you back? Well, if so, I am so glad you were listening to this video, because here's the thing. I'm not here to tell you that a fear of failure can just go away. I'm not here to tell you that you're ever going to stop being afraid, because for sure, truly, so many times I post these videos or I post on LinkedIn or I post somewhere else, and there is that fear in the back of my head. It has not gone away. There is that voice in the back of my head that still says to me, hey, what if no one reads this? What if no one likes this? What if no one resonates with this? Now, here's the thing. That voice, that self-doubt, that fear of failure, that hasn't gone anywhere from me. That hasn't disappeared. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think that that voice or that thought is ever going to disappear from your head, that you're never going to have thoughts that are based around self-doubt or imposter syndrome or just unhelpful negative thinking. I'm not going to tell you that those thoughts are going to disappear. And in fact, I don't really truly believe that they ever do. I don't think they do. But here's what does change. When we can commit to ourselves to live our lives and to take action on our dreams and create the kind of business and life we want, despite those thoughts in our brains, despite the unhelpful thoughts, despite the fear of failure, despite the self-doubt, despite the fear of judgment and all the other stuff that comes along with it, when we can decide, you know what? I'm going to make a choice. I'm going to choose to do whatever it takes to create the business and life I want. Once we make that choice, then we can start to shrink the energy and the volume of those thoughts in our brains. So this is what I mean by that. We can't get rid of these thoughts, right? It's kind of like saying, don't think about a white bear, don't think about a white bear, whatever that one thing is, right? Where you say, the person says, don't think about this one thing, and that is all you think about. It's just like that. You can't get rid of your thoughts like that. The more you try, the louder they get. However, if you start to accept that the fear of failure and self-doubt is just part of the journey, that those thoughts are simply thoughts, some thoughts among a huge volume, a sea of thoughts in your brain, and that they are no more or less important than any other thoughts, but that you can simply decide where to put your attention. Do I want to continue to put all of my attention and focus into these thoughts that make me feel bad, that fill me with doubt, that make me live my life in fear, that make me wake up every morning with dread? Do I want to put my attention there? Do I want to continue to allow those thoughts to be the big, huge headers in my life, the loudest and most pervasive and most demanding thoughts? Do I want to allow that to continue inside my mind? Or am I ready to take my attention towards thoughts that are going to help me more? Thoughts that say, hey, it's okay if I try, at least I tried. Or, okay, well, if no one looks at my YouTube or no one likes my LinkedIn post, is that going to be the worst thing ever? Is it? Or is it simply going to give me some information? Maybe I need to post at a different time of day. Maybe I need to use different tags. Maybe I need to learn how to optimize my SEO, whatever it may be. Can I start to look at it as a source of information, a risk worth taking, a vulnerability worth putting myself in? Can I start to do that? And if I can do that, if I can choose to do that, if you can choose to do that and allow these thoughts that are around the fear of failure and self-doubt, etc., to just kind of shrink back and be smaller, right? A smaller font, if you will. If you have them just take up less space and be smaller in your brain, and start to put the lens, the microscope or the floodlight on these other thoughts that allow you to take more risks, that allow you to say, hey, even if I may fail, even if this doesn't work out, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I can get up and I can try again tomorrow. If you can start to put more of a spotlight on those thoughts and let them be louder and more important and take up more space and more energy, right? Then what might happen? What might happen for you, right? It may be that you can finally go out and start taking more action, more brave, courageous action on your dreams, and start to create the kind of balance you want in your life and start to create the kind of business you want in your life. What if that fear of failure could still be there in the back of your mind, but not call the shots, right? And let me tell you, it is completely within you. It is within your ability to make that choice. It is within your ability to decide who calls the shots, which thoughts get the focus, which thoughts get to be the loudest, which get to be in bold, and which get to be in the little fine print in the background. You get to choose that. And it is not easy, and it is not a one-time choice. It takes intention, effort, and commitment. However, let me ask you, what do you gain by doing this? What do you gain by making a fear of failure a background thought? And what would you lose if you don't? What would you lose? What is it going to be? Is it more time with people you love? Is it more time doing things that excite you? Is it more money and stability in your life? Is it more flexibility? What is it? What would you lose if you don't make the choice to put the fear of failure in the background and allow your attention and your energy and focus to be on areas of your life where you could have more courage, where you could take more action, and really amazing things could happen for you, right? So again, this video isn't about how if you stop having a fear of failure, all these amazing things will come your way, because let me just tell you something. It takes work to be successful. It takes work to make your dreams come true and have the relationships you want and have the kind of happiness in life you have. And there are going to be challenges and obstacles. I truly don't believe that there is a single life out there where that is not true. Obstacles and challenges are part of the path to success and happiness and joy and whatever that means for you. So I am not saying that it's suddenly going to become easy or that you're not going to fail, or that you're not going to fail multiple times. You may just do that. I know I have. But the thing is, the difference is, when we don't let the fear of failure be the biggest, most boldest thought in our brains, when we don't allow it to be the focus of our attention, then we can take those risks, then we can take those actions, and eventually, and whenever the time is right for you, whenever the stars align, or however you want to look at it, or you just simply finally have the skills in the right place and you're finally figuring out how to get yourself out there and build what you want, whenever that happens, it will have been worth it, right? It will have been worth it. If this video resonated with you, if you needed to hear this message today about how exactly the fear of failure may be holding you back and how to start shifting yourself out of this energy, this place, this focus on the fear of failure, to allowing it to take a back seat to the more important thoughts, the more important, engaging, motivating thoughts in your brain. They're in there somewhere. But if this video helped you in any way today, please let me know in the comments below. If you haven't done so, please consider subscribing if this is the kind of content that appeals to you. If developing a high performance mindset so that you can go after whatever it is you want in your life and try to create the kind of life and business you want, if that's important to you, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.